I got some big news for you. Prince Andrew has been arrested over his misconduct within the Epstein files. This is like the first person who has actually had some consequences for their actions other than like Ghislaine Maxwell, who, by the way, I'm starting to think that Ghislaine Maxwell might have been swapped out the way that Jeffrey Epstein was swapped out before he quote unquote committed suicide. If you don't know, I don't believe Jeffrey Epstein is dead whatsoever. And now there's recent pictures coming out of Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, and it's not her. It's just not fucking her. You should look into that. It's remarkable. But I wanted to show you this. We have two things I want to talk about. We are not live right now. I don't go live on Thursdays. I don't have the time to do it. I have a lot of meetings. But this is what we've got from the Associated Press. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office over ties to Epstein. So we're going to talk about that. And then the other thing that I have for you is yesterday I made a video saying we're going to go into war with Iran. It looks like it's actually like imminent, like before, like by Saturday, like 2 days from now. I'm filming this on Thursday, February 19th, 2016. We're going to war with Iran. And also there is some inside sources who are saying that the Israelis might deploy tactical nukes on the Iranian missile silos. Now, here's the thing. I'm hoping that's not true, but I've said it a million times. The only nation on this planet that is selfish and stupid enough to use nuclear weapons is Israel. It's the only nation that would be willing to do that. They don't feel like they'll ever face consequences for their actions, especially from the United States of America, because they have a backlog, a database full of videos of President Donald Trump having sex with children, because Donald Trump is a sex trafficking pedophile. This is irrefutable. If you disagree with me, you're mentally fucking retarded and you shouldn't be allowed near children. But anyway, we're going to talk about the 6 signs that that Trump's war with Iran is imminent, and we're going to talk about, you know, Prince Andrew a little bit. Oh, here comes Luigi. Here comes Luigi. She heard me, and now she wants to come on in. All right, but let's get a look at this. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former British prince who was stripped of his royal titles because of his links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, was arrested Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So this must have happened this morning. Hold on, let me let Luigi in here for a second. Luigi, you want to come in? You can come in. Come on in. Come on in, mama. All right, so Prince Andrew gets arrested. Let's keep reading. While Andrew has consistently denied any wrongdoing in connection with his friendship with Epstein, concerns about Mountbatten Windsor's links to the late financier have dogged the royal family for more than a decade. But the arrest of a brother of a monarch was an extraordinary development with no precedent in modern times that will no doubt put more pressure on the crown. Guys, you have to understand, this guy could have been the King of England. Like, if his brother had fucking died, he would have, I believe so, right? He's the brother of the king, right? Yeah, okay, so if his brother had died, he would have ended up the fucking king. For real, on God, I think. I don't know how that fucking works. I don't know how monarchies work because I'm American, and Americans rebel against monarchies. Granted, there's about 77 million bootlicking cucks who would rather have King Donald than be able to fucking vote in an election because you're all inferior swine. All right, let's keep reading here. After the arrest, King Charles III said that the law must take its course in the investigation, and he sought to reassure the British public that he would continue to serve them. Also, there's some reports here that I was reading into this that Andrew might have sent confidential reports to Epstein. Now, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is the Israelis and Epstein, they operated with a blackmail economy. That's how a nation the size of New Jersey, Israel, has so much pull on the global stage. It's because they blackmail different world leaders, different governments, right? And the only explanation that I can come up with for why Prince Andrew would be giving confidential information to Jeffrey Epstein is because Jeffrey held up a video of Prince Andrew fucking children and goes, "You're either going to give me that intel or I'm going to drop this fucking video." That's the way that this entire operation was unfolding. All right, Thames Valley Police previously said it was assessing reports that Mountbatten Windsor sent confidential trade reports to Epstein in 2010 when the former prince was Britain's special envoy for international trade. Luigi, shush! Those reports stemmed from correspondence between the two men that was among the millions of pages of documents from the U.S. Justice Department's investigation into Epstein that were released last month. Quote, following a thorough assessment, we have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office, Assistant Chief Constable Oliver Wright said in a statement. Oliver Wright, that's a British-ass name if I've ever seen it. Quote, we understand the significant public interest in the case, and we will provide updates at the appropriate time. Police also said they were searching 2 properties. The arrest came after pictures circulated online that appeared to show unmarked police cars at Wood Farm, Mountbatten Windsor's home on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, with plainclothes officers gathering outside. The allegations being investigated Thursday are separate from those made by Virginia Giuffre, who claimed that she had been trafficked to Britain to have sex with Andrew in 2001 when she was just 17. Giuffre died by suicide last year. No, she did not. Virginia Giuffre made it abundantly clear. She made like a public statement once saying, I'm not suicidal, I'm not a danger to myself or others, I would never take my own life. And then, of course, she took her own life. Now, that's complete and total fucking bullshit because she was the one who really spilt the beans on the entire Epstein operation at first. Now, here's a little connection that I'm going to throw at you just to freak you out. When Virginia Giuffre spilt the beans and did that first big interview about everything that happened with her and Trump and Epstein and Prince Andrew, do you know who she was talking to? Savannah Guthrie. Now, that name's starting to ring a bell, ain't it? Yeah, well, that's because Savannah Guthrie's mom is currently missing. Now, maybe you're going to go, Chris, what do you mean? There's no connection there. Well, how about this? The Clintons, Bill and Hillary, well, they said that they will testify in front of, I think, Congress and talk about the Epstein files in length. Well, the Clintons' fixer, their, I guess one of their attorneys, happens to be Savannah Guthrie's husband. So I'm starting to believe that Trump and the CIA and the FBI and all of the fascists, all of the fascists, well, they said to themselves, we can't get the Clintons, they're too big. We can't get his lawyer, that's too close. Unfortunately, we can't get his lawyer's wife because that's Savannah Guthrie, she's very famous. What about Savannah's mother? Now, I know some of you have a girlfriend, some men here, or you know, if you're in a lesbian relationship, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make is, if you have a girlfriend or a wife, and their mother was kidnapped, right? And who knows, maybe it has something to do with you. I'm pretty sure that many of us here would do whatever the fuck we had to do in order to ensure the safety of our mother-in-law, unless, you know, you fucking despise your mother-in-law, who knows. But I genuinely believe this is one of Trump's ways of getting to the Clintons to get them to not say the quiet part out loud during their testimony, or to get them to completely hold back from testifying in front of Congress. All right, let's see. Still, Giuffre's family praised the arrest, saying, today our broken hearts have been lifted at the news so that no one is above the law, not even royalty. The family added, quote, he was never a prince. For survivors everywhere, Virginia did this for you. Fuck yeah, she did. Shout out Virginia Giuffre. R.I.P. A spectacular fall from grace. This is the most spectacular fall from grace for a member of the royal family in modern times, said Craig Prescott, a royal expert at Royal Holloway, University of London. All right, so listen, the best that we can hope for is that Prince Andrew gets thrown in fucking prison. Now, I highly doubt that'll happen because he's royalty, but this is at least a good start. You know, they're not going after some rando fucking person who was in the files. Instead, they're actually going after one of the big dogs. I mean, this should be making Trump shake in his fucking boots. Granted, maybe the Brits have, you know, a little bit more balls in the American government. I don't really know. I really doubt that that Trump will ever face consequences for his actions, but I do think a lot of the other men will. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, this is going to be a short video today. The last thing I want to talk about with you is 6 signs that Trump's Iran war is imminent. This is from Newsweek. Number 1, Trump sends a show of force to the Middle East. As we know the size and the speed of the U.S. military buildup, Trump ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford. That is the world's largest aircraft carrier to the Middle East. Now, he also ordered like fucking dozens of F-22s and F-16s and all these different bombers. Like we have like a massive, probably the largest assembly of military, what would you call it, a vehicle of military vehicles in that area of the world, I think in human history. Number 2, massive weeks-long campaign planned. Now, if you're old enough for the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, this right here probably just gave you a chill down your spine. That is one of the biggest tells. That should scare the fuck out of you, because when we were getting ready to invade Iraq and Afghanistan, you know what they were saying in American mainstream media? They were going to say, oh, this is only going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. Turned out to be 22 years long. So we are entering a new forever war with Iran, and this is why I believe that Israel might actually use tactical nukes, because the only way to avoid a forever war is to use tactical nukes or not go to war. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, the rest of the Knesset, they firmly believe in this idea of a greater Israel, with Israel expanding to take over the entirety of Palestine, the entirety of Jordan, the entirety of Syria, the entirety of Iraq, right? They want all of this. And one of the biggest actors standing in the way of their genocidal apartheid regime is Iran, right? So no, it doesn't matter what we Americans want, because we are beholden to Israel, because our president is compromised and blackmailed by the Israelis, because our president is a sex trafficking, pedophile, child rapist, cannibal, and they have videos of him doing all of this. So your sons, your nephews, they will go fight and die for the pedophile president who is being blackmailed by the Zionists. How does that feel, MAGA? You red hat wearing fucking troglodytes, you literal subhuman vermin. How does that feel? Are you gonna go fight in the front lines against the Iranian army at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, your pedophile kings? Are you gonna do that? Because I'll be fucking sure to spit on your face when you come back for deployment. I will never thank another fucking service member for their service. What I will say is, where'd you serve? If you say Venezuela or Iran or Greenland, I'm gonna spit in your fucking face. I'm going to tell you you're a disgrace to the United States of America, and you should push yourself to that fucking limit that nobody returns from, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, because I can't say that shit online. All right. An anonymous briefing to Axios describes plans for a massive weeks-long campaign. This is not just precision strikes. This is boots on the ground, full-fledged war. We are going to war. Number 3, talks hit red lines. The two sides remain far apart in talks. We're never going to come to a negotiation, because Trump's offer to them is get rid of all of your ballistic missiles, get rid of all of your nuclear weapons, if you even have them, get rid of your fucking army in and of itself. He's essentially pulling the Negan route from The Walking Dead, walking into their place and going, give me everything you have or I'll kill you. That is the way that Donald Trump fucking negotiates. Number 4, Iran fortifies key facilities. Luigi, do hairas likiri. Iran fortifies key facilities. Recent satellite imagery published on Wednesday by Reuters shows that Iran has been quietly repairing and fortifying key facilities, suggesting that Tehran is preparing for conflict even as diplomacy continues. They'd be fucking stupid to not be doing this. America never comes in peace. Never once in our 250-year-long history has America come in peace. We come to steal, we come to rape, we come to murder. We are the evil empire. Number 5. Iran unrest rattles leadership. Iran's leadership is also contending with mounting pressure at home. Yeah, this is a lot because of the public unrest and the what is it called? The protests that are going on. And then we got this: Strait of Hormuz closed for the first time since the 1980s. If you are a fan here, I've been saying this since about November. I've been saying, if you want to know when World War III is about to kick off, it's when we take Venezuela and Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. Now, why is that? There is a tremendous amount of oil that flows out of the Middle East, and guess where it goes through? Straight through the fucking Strait of Hormuz, right? No pun intended with the straight through the strait. Right through the Strait of Hormuz, right? Well, if we knew that there was some giant conflict coming to the Middle East and the Iranians might annex or close down the Strait of Hormuz, and the flow of oil from the Middle East becomes unreliable, well, we would have to come up with a backup plan. Now, where would that oil be? Venezuela. It all ties together. The reason why we kidnapped Maduro, the reason why we kidnapped Maduro because we want him to claim that he stole the 2020 election with rigged voting machines from Venezuela, so that then we can steal the midterm elections and Trump can seize the ballots. But the reason why we turned Venezuela into a vassal state and we now have complete control over the government and we own all of their oil and we are stealing all of it and giving none of it to the Venezuelans, the reason why we're doing that is because the United States government and the military knew what was going to happen in the next 2 days in Iran. They know that the Iranians are going to close down the Strait of Hormuz, that the oil flow is going to be rendered relatively obsolete, and they need a backup plan. Everything in geopolitics is tied together. There was no decision that is made like outside of the other decision decisions that are being made. They are all made in tandem, okay? Moment of high risk. These 6 factors indicate a moment of high risk. U.S. forces are moving into the position while diplomacy is stuck on core issues. Prediction markets are also signaling elevated expectations of military action this year. On the Polymarket platform, the probability of a U.S. or Israeli strike by June 30th is currently around 71%. Kalshi prediction markets are not optimistic. A deal will be reached. The chances of a U.S.-Iran nuclear deal before August are listed as just 30% and falling. War is not certain. Incorrect. Talks are still underway and both sides say they prefer a deal, but the warning signs of an all-out conflict are stronger than they have been in years. War is certain. The Ayatollah will probably flee to Moscow. Netanyahu will probably flee to Greece. The bombs will start falling. The missiles will start being exchanged. And if Israel is as selfish as I believe they are, they will drop tactical nuclear weapons on the Iranian ballistic missile silos. Genuinely, that is what I believe. Now, one of the main reasons I believe this, is because the only step before a nuclear weapon is thermobaric bombs. And Israel has already been deploying thermobaric bombs on innocent civilians in Gaza, most likely testing out the damage of them so that they can deploy them in Iran. I think this is going to be a full-fledged boots-on-the-ground invasion, tactical nukes. I think this is the beginning of World War III. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that facetiously. I don't say that sarcastically. I do believe that maybe by Saturday, but definitely by March 1st, we will experience the beginning of World War III. Now, it won't be known as the beginning of World War III until way fucking later, the same way that nobody marked the invasion of Poland as the beginning of World War II, not until way fucking later. But we will look back on this moment as the beginning of World War III. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. I know it's a short video. I don't go live on Thursdays. I have too much shit to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. Always remember, this is real independent media, entirely grassroots funded by you, the viewer. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, a sponsor, a government, a PAC, any of that shit. So if you do want to support this channel financially, please do. There's a couple of ways you could do it. You could buy merch like the posters behind me. I also have hoodies, and we got mugs. That's all available down below. You can click the thanks button to tip me directly. You can click the join button to become a member, which will give you early access to a lot of the videos, and it'll give you access to some pretty cool emotes of Luigi, my little doggy. And then last but not least, you can become a patron on Patreon. Donate $1, $5, $10, whatever you want. Thank you very much for 144,000 subscribers, I believe. I love you all. I am simply the megaphone for the people because I'm a loud, stupid Italian piece of shit. Do me one last favor. Click that video over there. It's a banger. And I know bangers.